In a quiet, beautiful estate filled with happy families and playful children, there lived a young man named Martins. He was a math teacher, kind and friendly, always smiling at parents and greeting children with warmth. One day, Uncle Martins came up with an idea. Instead of allowing these children to play away their time, I will teach them mathematics. I will use my little corner in this estate to run a math lesson center for them, he announced. I will make them love numbers and become geniuses. The parents were excited when they heard Uncle Martin's proposal. This is a great idea. One mother clapped. Our children will be smart. How much is the fee? Another mother asked. Uncle Martin smiled sweetly. Not much at all, just a small amount for their education. And just like that, Uncle Martin's lesson center was born. Soon, parents trusted him completely. They brought their children, boys and girls ages 4 to 8, to learn mathematics from him. The children loved the class, and sometimes they refused to go home to their parents. Uncle Martins made learning fun and exciting for them. But no one knew that behind his friendly face, Uncle Martins was hiding a terrible secret. It wasn't only mathematics that he was teaching them. There was another evil secret. But one day, the owner of the estate visited with heavy armed uniformed men and asked Uncle Martins to vacate his estate in the next 24 hours. And so Uncle Martins, the math lesson teacher, disappeared overnight from the estate. Uncle Martins traveled to the next big city, and soon he found a teaching job. It was the same mathematics. He found a house nearer his new school. It was also an estate, but better than the previous one he had lived. He now lived at Green Palm Estate. The sun always sets gently over Green Palm Estate, casting golden hues across the neighborhood. It was a peaceful, quiet estate where parents trusted their neighbors and children played freely on the streets. It was in this estate that Uncle Martins lived and practiced his friendly and respectful private math teacher in his house. To the parents, he was a godsend. Uncle Martin's Saturday's math lessons kept the children busy, and his fees were affordable. He promised to make their kids excel in mathematics. He promised to make their kids excel in mathematics and to turn them into little mathematics experts. But Uncle Martins had a dark secret, like I said, and it was the same thing that drove him out of his first abode. The estate owner had ICT that gave him the full views of the estate. One day he saw a mess of Uncle Martin's lesson center with the children and evicted him from the estate immediately. Before Uncle Martins left, the landlord warned him to desist from his evil way or he will meet his Waterloo. But did Uncle Martins change? Did Uncle Martin change? No. Math lesson was his disguise, but his real interest was not in numbers. His true subject was something horrifying, something he called LICK-MATICS, something he called the fun game. Every Saturday afternoon, parents dropped off their children at Uncle Martin's home. His small, dimly lit study room smelled of chalk, dust, and cheap air freshener. The children, mostly little boys and girls between 4 and 8 years old, sat on the cold, tiled floor, eager to learn. But instead of equations and fractions, Uncle Martins had other plans. He began slowly. "Before we start today's mass," he said with a grin that never reached his eyes, "let's do something fun." He called it LICK-MATICS. At first it seemed harmless, just a game. "Everyone stick out your tongues like this." He demonstrated his own tongue sliding out like a snake. The children giggled. It felt silly, like a game. "Good, now move your tongue in circle as if you're licking a lollipop," he instructed, his voice low and sweet like syrup over a poison. The children obeyed, their tiny tongues flickering out. "Perfect," he clapped. "Now let's do partner practice. Each of you will lick the air towards your friends just like this. Whoever does his best gets higher score," he announced. "You want the best score, don't you?" The innocent children's mind, desperate for approval, obeyed. And Uncle Martin, he watched, smiling, enjoying. Later he would tell them it was his turn. He called them to come forward one after another. He then brought out his tongue and licked their cheeks, their necks, making them to tickle. And one after another, his focus was always the boys. Once the lesson closes, he will announce the names of the children he had gifts for. He will ask them to wait behind and ask others to go home. Uncle Martin took his victim for the day inside his bedroom for the LICK-MATICS gift. There he would teach the child, mainly the boys, how to lick his dick. He would lie on his dirty mattress naked while the innocent boy learned the veil LICK-MATICS on Uncle Martin's. When the child was ready to go, he would plead with the child not to tell anyone what they did, that it was their little secret. He would promise them more special gifts for the next day. For months, nobody suspected a thing. The evil went on at Uncle Martin's Children Lesson Center. The children never understood what was wrong. They thought it was just a strange math exercise. They even went home telling their parents. For months, nobody suspected a thing. The evil went on at Uncle Martin's Children Lesson Center. The children never understood what was wrong. They thought it was just a strange math exercise. They even went home telling their parents. Uncle Martin teaches us fun math today, they will say at home. Until one day, Uncle Martin's cup of iniquity ran over. A concerned mother, Mrs. Gloria, grew suspicious when her 6-year-old son, Jason, started licking out his tongue randomly at home. "What are you doing?" she asked. practicing my LICK-MATICS, mommy. Jasin beam. Uncle Martin say I'll be the best if I practice more. A chill ran through her spine. LICK-MATICS? She asked. She knew something was wrong. She asked him to demonstrate the game for her to see. The innocent boy moved closer to her mother and began to lick her face and cheek like a starved dog. He ordered his mother to lie down so he can also play the licking game below under her legs. This made her choked and she let out a loud scream. "Likima what?" she asked her son in shock. "LICK-MATICS game, mommy," the little poor boy said. That evening she spoke to other mothers whose children attend Uncle Martin's math lesson in the estate about her finding. Soon more children admitted to playing the LICK-MATICS game every Saturday and most times inside his room. "That is terrible and animalistic," the women exclaimed. But how could they catch Uncle Martins red-handed? How could they stop him from doing further harm to the young ones in the future? Mrs. Gloria's husband, a tech expert, came up with a plan. The next Saturday, before Jason went for his math lesson, his parents sewed a tiny hidden camera into his backpack. What the camera captured was sickening. When they watched the footage that night, their stomach churned. There was Uncle Martin sitting in his chair, eyes gleaming with pleasure. There were the children licking the air, licking each other, giggling, unaware of the evil behind it. And worst of all, Uncle Martins could be heard breathingly. And the worst of all, Uncle Martins could be heard breathing heavily, whispering disgusting encouragements, grading them based on their licking. They also saw him walking into his room with a 4-year-old boy, whispering something into his ears while the innocent boy giggled. That was enough. Mrs. Gloria didn't waste a second. By Sunday morning, the police arrived. Neighborhood gathered as Uncle Martins was dragged out in handcuffs. He protested, fake tears rolling down his cheek. "I am innocent. I am a victim of circumstances. I was just teaching them a new learning technique." He screamed and lied. But when the police played the footage, there was no defense. He was ashamed and he bowed in shame. The estate was in shock. "How could we have trusted him?" the parents whispered, horrified. The case made headlines in the newspapers and television. Uncle Martins was found guilty of child abuse and psychological manipulation. He was sentenced to several years imprisonment, but no punishment could erase the trauma of what he had done to the little children. Lessons for the parents. No parents left. From that day in Green Palm Estate, no parent left their child with a teacher without supervision. They monitored lessons, installed cameras, and asked more questions. These are the lessons from this story. Number one, not every teacher is a good teacher. Just because someone is qualified doesn't mean they should be trusted. Number two, be involved in your child's learning. Know what they are being taught, who is teaching them, and what methods are being used. The third lesson, Know that children are innocent, so protect them. They don't always recognize evil and danger. So it is up to you parents to see it for themselves. You are their eyes. And so Uncle Martins has used his position to prey on the innocent. But in the end, justice prevailed. Thank you for watching. Bye. Please like and comment. Subscribe to our channel.